iPhone 61.
Hello, everybody.
Your toys are over there, your phones are over there. Mommy's taking.
Yep.
Wow,
I think
Molly,
so.
look at you. Hey, where's Massimo? They must be out.
Oh, yeah. He
But
was snuggling.
you have my.
Mommy's. Yeah, exactly.
My early notes is telling me different.
So are we not, when are we not having class again?
Well, that is a
Probably.
open question.
we-
because We may have no gap as such and have some meditation weeks. Is that the question?
No, when am I not coming on? Well, I know I'm not here next Sunday.
Well, starting the 20th.
Oh, are you asking
Yeah,
Tracy?
Like, no, when are you,
Oh, when are we leaving?
when are you
26th.
We're
traveling?
not leaving till the 27th.
Okay,
And
But,
I'm-
For 10 days.
We're just 2
planning
weeks
to
away.
have- We're talking with Brian Bales, who has done a lot of meditation teaching, who may lead some meditation classes.
Zoom stuff, you know.
So because nobody has too much meditation technique
Right.
that I'm aware of.
Oh, you're
So,
very aware.
you know, I'll confirm with you on the dates, Brian, but
Yeah.
if you're up for that, that would be, I think, really
It was
nice.
Goldie, right?
on Zoom.
Oh.
All right. Here's
Yeah,
the gospel
probably.
according to Kalila for today. This morning, when I was doing my session, I was at the point where ones would do your preparatory practices, which is what we're about to do. So I'm gonna mention just some thoughts that came to me, and this one dominant thought really pervaded everything that came after that in my meditation time this morning, and it was something along the line of only by developing a warm-hearted love and realization of my connection to all others. Only by that, by cultivating and sustaining that kind of loving relationship is my practice that I'm about to do going to result in anything. Otherwise, it's just memorizing, it's more like intellectual training. You memorize things, blah, blah, blah. And I was reflecting a little bit on two things that I heard that sort of, if you want to back that up. First one was, I remember it on one occasion, Geshe Lobsang, and those of you who studied with him know that he always was teaching on wisdom and the importance of understanding emptiness. So when he said at one point, maybe 5 or so years into his coming and teaching us all, he said something to the effect at the beginning of the class, I want you to understand how close I feel to all of you. And we wouldn't necessarily even think that because his emphasis was the philosophy, emptiness, drilling this on, you know, what's a non-affirming negative, like that. So that was very moving. And then I flashed on this morning that scene in Kundun, the movie about the identification of His Holiness and his initial training. And as you know, that script was developed with his input, so this is not a make-believe movie. At one point, his teacher just says to His Holiness, who was kind of confused by all the philosophies, and the teacher said, your main job is just to love them. Just love them, you know, love all beings. And then I got thinking about Shantideva, who, you know, as we know, is one of the Nalanda scholars and highly developed. This circles back to my assertion that until we develop this sincere, I mean, and we'll all, each for our own side, we know where we're at. We could feel that. even if it's a thin resistance to wholeheartedly embracing your interconnectedness with all beings, especially good to practice with the ones you feel aversion towards. But anyway, Shantideva, of course, as we know, sailed around halfway around the world because he was lacking, he identified himself that he was lacking this peace, this authentic, I mean, no bullshit, actual.
You're talking right now. You're talking about Atish.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Who was also a Nalanda scholar who, Shantideva got this information from. Yeah, you're talking about going to
That
Indonesia.
That wasn't Shantideva?
No, that was
That was a
Atish,
teacher.
yeah.
Thank you. In any case, to go out of your way to, because you go, okay, here I am at Nalanda studying with all these learned masters, the center of Buddhist philosophical, and he needed to go somewhere else to find the simple teachings of how to authentically, deeply, and for real cultivate an authentic, real, no bullshit connection to others. And Geshe Nima's voice, other-centeredness. So I'm asserting that, and as I was thinking about this in the preparatory practices this morning, and my view for myself is, on the day when that becomes authentic is the day all this other study, all this other philosophical and intellectual understanding will germinate and begin to bear fruit. And I don't think I think I'm just one of us dealing with the same thing. I mean, I think this is where we all live, and if you're gonna say that we're stuck in any way, stuck or held back or in some way not performing in our spiritual progression as we'd like to, I just really have a strong insight for myself that this is where the work will net some actual results. My smiling little happy Buddha. No, I know. Don, this is Don's been teaching this for 30 years. So. But anyway, it's easier said than done, and then we become so with that in mind. We will just whip through the prayers. Thank you for listening. I'm not an assigned teacher, but you know how it is when you have this came to me so strongly this morning. I thought, okay, I've sort of developed the idea that whatever comes to me that day or the day before, something's like, oh, this would be good to share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So visualizing around you as they are in actuality, all sentient beings, all beings who have been your kind mother in one way or the other. And even if you can't go there, they've been kind and caring to someone in some way, somehow. That kindness is there, and you're surrounded by all beings. And then noticing that in front of you are these enlightened beings who have completely submerged themselves in their love and connection to you, so much so that here they are, just because you've asked them to come and support your evolution into this kind of loving, connected, aware way of being. So this is the refuge visualization with Shakyamuni and all the consciousnesses that have achieved amazing states of love and wisdom. Here we are with them and with all sentient beings in this marvelous undertaking called existence. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Dharma and the Sangha Through the positive potential I create by practicing generosity and the other far-reaching attitudes, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddhist, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing generosity and the other far-reaching attitudes, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. And this last repetition will mention teachings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by listening to teachings and the other paramitas, may I attain Buddhahood for all sentient beings. And refreshing your awareness of the sentient beings that surround us. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. And then visualize yourself. You know that if you've ever been to a Catholic mass, there's this thing they've done since Vatican II called the sign of peace, where you go around and kiss and hug and wish as many people around you as you can peace. So imagine yourself now hugging and kissing and acknowledging the beings that surround you and your wish for your mutual happiness and your mutual release from suffering.
That's
And kind
sweet.
mothers on this beautiful Mother's Day, where all beings are our mothers, and we theirs. And then together, all of us, all beings now, turn our awareness to the enlightened beings, especially our kind gurus and teachers who we have had direct contact with in this existence. And to them especially, we recite the lines of the seven limb practice directed towards our kind teachers. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present vows of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginning this time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends and turn the wheel of dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate the merit created by myself and others to the great enlightenment. And then gathering around you the sentient beings who you're the closest to, especially your kind mother or your mothers. And we're going to, with them, appreciating their giving us this life and nurturing us to the best of their ability in this life. We, together with all the mothers, will offer to the enlightened beings this celebration that we call the mandala offering, where we visualize the purified existence for ourselves and all beings, where together we abide in truth and non-harming beauty and goodness and all the good qualities of existence with none of the harmful ones, just completely purified realm. We visualize that as our ultimate offering, that which we will manifest through our practice. Sajiko ki jaching meto Tramri Ravlinji Nide Yen Padi Sangye Shindu Mite Uwargi Osho. And then before we say the Idam Guru Ratna line, visualize yourself now as fully having actualized this universal love and compassion and complete acceptance of all sentient beings as they are in this moment. And then we say, Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamdurya Tayami.
Thank you. That was very sweet. I forgot it was Mother's Day.
Yeah,
I had like totally.
That's Mother's Day.
yeah.
Well,
Who all are sentient being mothers.
right. So
Happy
it's
Mother's Day.
actually it's always Mother's Day. You know, if you think about it in those terms. So that's very sweet. I really like that. Imagining all the sentient beings surrounding you, sort of, you know, embracing one another. What a beautiful image. I mean, I'm going to keep that from now on, going forward, because that's how we want to be viewing sentient beings, viewing one another. So these are the a collection of the practices that Geshe Nima gave us during the period that he was here, and it's quite a bit of practices. And so we'll start them today, and I'm starting from the beginning. And the beginning that we recorded was actually session 2. He had given session 1. We weren't recording that. But what I do remember is that in session 2, he was going over the things he went over in session 1 and making them more clear. So starting at the beginning, the first things that he gave us.
I'll be opening it up.
Yeah.
In the session, but I'm gonna drop
You
it.
could also put the PDF there.
I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now as a PDF, and then I'll email it to right now, just if you don't, I'll email it to Brian and Tracy right now, and Don.
So this document, which I will be, sending out via email as well, it has links to everything you're supposed to visualize and see, and there's just links for everything I could think of that would be helpful to do these practices. So the first one he gave was how to meditate on the conventional nature of the mind. And we did this a few times, so I think people will recall this one. But here, what he's doing is he's preparing the meditation. When we meditate on the conventional nature of the mind, we don't follow our previous misconceived thoughts, past experiences, or past deeds. So when he's talking about, let's stop here, conventional nature of the mind, we're talking about not the ultimate nature of the mind. The ultimate nature of the mind is just emptiness itself. So it's sort of like when we talk about conventional reality and ultimate reality, the conventional nature of the mind that they speak about is what is called this clear light mind. And this is how we think about it. It's kind of difficult for us to even imagine or visualize this, but the clear light mind resides in our energetic body at our heart chakra. And it is, and we're always with that clear light mind. It goes with us from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So that's the, and of course the ultimately that clear light mind is empty of all inherent existence. It is a dependently arising moment to moment mind that can shift and change. When we meditate on the conventional nature of the mind, we don't follow our previous misconceived thoughts, past experiences, or past deeds. Sometimes our past experience arises in the mind. Just be aware of that. Don't judge it as positive or negative, or good or bad. Just be aware of it. And through repeatedly doing that, finally, all the past experience that arises in the mind automatically settles down, like a bubble that rises from the ocean and then settles back. The nature of our mind is that if we negate or judge our past experience or past misconceived thoughts, we'll create those thoughts again and again. More and more and more. If we are aware of that and just leave it as it is, then our mental world will settle down. The whole mental world has an empty nature. In other words, a dependently arising nature, our mental world. So our misconceptions and negativities are created from that empty, dependently arising nature of the mind. When we are aware of that, then they just settle down into the mind itself. For example, when we follow our past experience and we remember, I did this or that yesterday, I can do this, I cannot do that. If such thoughts arise in our mind, we become aware of them and never judge them. We don't judge, we don't negate them, we just be aware of that and keep going. Finally, all the past experience and past conceptual thought settles down in our mind. This is one aspect of the meditation. Another aspect is that we never invite an unrealistic thought, future thought, in which we imagine about ourselves, I will do this, I can do that, I can't do that. We don't do any of that. If you think about what the nature of our nature is, Buddha nature, to say that I can't do something is sort of insulting our very nature. We have the capacity to do anything, but we limit ourselves with our thinking, with our kind of thoughts that we have. So we want to sort of just, for this meditation, get rid of that. Just let it go, that limitation. If such thoughts arise in our mind, we become aware of them and we never judge this is good or this is bad. We just stay aware of them. We keep going in this way until all the thoughts we imagine about the future, things, objects, people, they all settle down into the empty nature of the mind and mental world. Then finally, we keep our focus on the present mind, which is the mere experience of clarity and knowing. The present mind is the mere experience of clarity and knowing. Like water on water, we keep our mind on the mind itself. We call this state of mind objectless. The present moment of mind is objectless. That's unusual for us. We normally are always focused on some object thing, something we're thinking about. And what he's saying here is if we get to the present moment of the mind, there is no object. It's like water on water. The mind itself is what we're, aware of.
Mhm.
When we calm down the mind, which remembers the past, and the mind which imagines the future, we can actualize the present moment of mental clarity. Then, like water on water, there is no object, just an awareness of mind. We keep our mental focus on that as much as we can. This is how to meditate on the conventional nature of the mind. By repeatedly meditating in this way, we can finally experience the real conventional nature of the mind. Through that, we can experience the real nature of the mind, the non-dualistic mind itself. This is huge, important. This non-dualism, this idea of non-dualism, it's major. It is the thing that will take us to enlightenment. And through that, we can experience the joy and peacefulness of the present moment of the mind. So that's the first thing that he talked about, and it was like an introduction as to what we should be doing. The next thing he goes into is the 7-point posture of Vairocana. And so I put up a picture of Buddha Vairocana that we could, look at, just see how, Buddha Vairocana is sitting, and we can sort of look at that as he talks about this. Many meditation guidebooks talk about the 7-point posture of Buddha Vairocana. First of all, we cross the legs. Then we put the right hand in the left hand with both palms up and the 2 thumbs touching. Now, there is symbolism here about the left and the right. The left always represents wisdom, represents emptiness. It represents, you could say, feminine energy that everybody has. The right represents what is called the method, compassion, deeds that you do. This would be characterized as masculine energy, which we all have. We all have both. So the left is always the wisdom. The right is always the compassion, you might put it that way, or wisdom and method. So when you're putting the hands together, this method and compassion is resting on wisdom as its foundation. It's important to remember this, especially when we get into some of the other mudras. There's meaning to this. It's not just like put your hands any way you want. Remember what it is they symbolize. So when we're looking at, say, we're imagining the Buddha's out in front of us, and Manjushri is on one side, that's wisdom, and Chenresik's on the other side, that's compassion. As we're looking at it, it appears as if to us, the Buddha of compassion is to the left of Shakyamuni Buddha, and the Buddha of wisdom, Manjushri, is to the right of Shakyamuni Buddha. The way to think about it is from the Buddha's point of view. From the Buddha's point of view, Manjushri is to the left, wisdom's to the left, Chenrezig is to the right, compassion is to the right. Mm-hmm. And that's how we think of it. So there could be some confusion when people are listening to these practices or going through the visualization practices, and it says to the left of Buddha. Right. It's Buddha's left, not your left. It's Buddha's right, not your right, as you're looking at it. But when we're doing this ourselves, it's our left, our right. The energy. So we put the right hand in the left hand with both thumbs up and the 2 thumbs touching. Third, we keep our back or spine straight. Fourth, we straighten our shoulders. Fifth, our chin is slightly tucked in to straighten the neck. Sixth, our eyes gaze downward toward the tip of the nose. Some people close their eyes, but this is not good, because when we close our eyes, darkness appears in our mind, and we won't see the clarity of the object, the clarity of the mind. So we just keep our eyes half closed, not completely closed, and look downward to the tip of our nose. When we do the meditation on the conventional clarity of the mind, we're meditating on the mind, the mental sense consciousness, not the physical sense consciousnesses. When we open our eyes, many outside objects appear to our mind. But when we meditate on the mind, eventually all the appearances of our eyes or other physical sense consciousnesses dissolve. And the appearance of mind, the mental sense consciousness, is clear and strong. So many of I've seen films taken way back, like when the Tibetans were first coming to the West, films of yogis in their caves doing Mahamudra or Dzogchen meditation, and they are like this, eyes wide open, and they're not seeing anything. Yeah. So it can be done. For our purposes, we start out, sort of looking down, but think with your mind of what's going on. And eventually, you sort of forget about what's out there. And you really can get quite focused on the mental world. So it's good to force ourselves to do this. I know we all want to close our eyes and sort of dream and
Bliss out, so
yeah,
to
so,
speak.
yeah, this idea of blissing out. But to actually get serious about this, we want to do as we're instructed to do. Because when you get into some of these higher meditations, such as Dzogchen or Mahamudra, your eyes are wide open, looking straight out. So
I always thought it was interesting, and I mean, I'm sure it's a bit of a crutch, but a useful one. And I had one teacher, well, like, so if you go to a Zen temple, sometimes they'll sit facing a wall, like a white wall, and their eyes are open, but there's nothing distraction. And I did have one teacher say that, especially when you're beginning and you're keeping your eyes open, to minimize and they said one of the worst things is to have books in front of you, like, because it's like with that discursive
Oh, I know.
word, like, so I don't know, it is helpful when you're just beginning with this to minimize the amount of stuff.
Even the
Yeah.
stuff on the floor.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
you're kind of like.
Yeah, solid wood floor versus a carpet.
But you can take
An
Virocana
oriental
down.
carpet.
You can take Virocana down now.
Yeah.
That's
But
looking at
then-
a wall would be perfect in a way in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, I mean, there's times, I definitely needed that, but.
When I'm doing my meditation in the morning, see that part of the wall right above the black lamp to the left
Yeah.
of the Fiesta poster? That's where I'm staring. And it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
For
Eventually
me,
it
I
gets
I've been
easier.
outside in nature, or anywhere, and I'm fortunate that the carpeting, the flooring, the grass, it doesn't seem to distract me visually, which is nice.
25,
Yeah.
30 years ago, I had these meditation tapes from Brahma Kumaris, and you're supposed to keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
And I'm on the Guadalupe River, and I was there like every weekend, and I'm just with my eye looking on and it's just like, this is heaven.
Yeah, it all just disappears.
But it became a different thing. Then the river was meditating for me. It was kind of like,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
you become. So I go home and do well, this isn't the same thing.
Well, they say nature is good if
It is.
Nature is very.
as long as
Yeah.
it's cooperating.
I mean, one thing that's good to intellectually have in your back pocket is the recollection that what the meditation is on the clarity and the awareness of the mind. So then that can be applied no matter what, quote, external environment you're in. It's the same exercise. So
Right.
whether it's a river or a book or a prison cell.
Yeah.
What
Now, can you
you're
just-
meditating on is the clarity of the mind.
Can you just mirrorize your merit field with
Yeah.
the throne and then just run
Remember
through the
all of
process?
Well, sure, that's
the
part-
8
yeah.
snow lions, and then
That's one of the
whole-
ways you start out. But when you actually, with the meditation that he's talking about here is very specific about the clarity of the mind and So it's not like you would visualize Buddha and Chenrezig
On
and all of that.
different.
On the visualization, in my opinion, it would be the same as, so you'd be using the imagery of the refuge visualization, say, or the merit field, whichever, in the same way that you would be using a statue or
Mhm.
an quote external object.
Yeah.
So it's still an object. It's just whether it's a mentally generated object, with your mind sense, or is it a externally generated through your eye?
What Geshe Nima is talking about, so in all the sadhanas I've ever seen, there's a period at which that visualization always dissolves and you go into objectless meditation.
And that's what he's
And then
talking
what
Which is what
this
he's talking
This
about.
is the
Objectless.
first
Like-
meditation he gave us.
It dissolves
Right.
into your mind and then into your brain, into your crown.
Yeah,
and
and
then
it's usually visual,
Right.
they dissolve
You
into
just
light
dissolve it.
into
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
And then there's a period of objectless meditation, which is,
Yeah.
right?
That's kind of what, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final of the 7 points, and I won't go over them again because this is all down here. We can, everybody can upload this and look at it or download it. With the all the appearance of our eyes or other physical sense consciousnesses dissolve, and the appearance of mind, the mental sense consciousness, is clear and strong. Through that, we can catch the real image of the object, the real image of the clarity of the mind. This is very important. So what we've been talking about in terms of focusing on the mind itself, the clarity is very, very important, is what he's saying here. With the 7th point of the meditation posture, we touch our tongue to the upper palate of the mouth, just behind the front teeth, and breathe normally. Again, always keep the eyes half closed, not completely closed, in order to stop the darkness from appearing in our mind. When we keep our spine straight, our chakras are very straight and aligned. This enables the wind energy, which in Sanskrit is called prana, and in Tibetan it's called lung. So the wind, the prana, or the lung energy properly circulates throughout our nervous system and the subtle system of energy channels that are in our body. And it's huge. It's like when you see these diagrams that the yogis have made of the energy channels, you would think you were looking at the human nervous system. And the energy channels go outside of the body as well, go about this far outside of the body. And when those energy channels start moving, you will feel it. You will feel it running through you. Also, the blood circulates properly when our spine is straight. Through that alignment, our mind is always mounted on the chakras. Our mind is mounted on the chakras. In this way, our mind is made active and fresh, and we are able to focus on the object properly. So for that benefit, we keep the spine and shoulders straight and so on, according to the 7-point posture. The posture is very important. So I'm sharing this information with you before we start the teaching. Now he goes in to the meditation on conventional clarity of the mind. In the morning, so he's giving us a practice, like to start in the morning. In the morning, when we wake up, we practice the following Manjushri visualization and then meditate on the conventional clarity of the mind that we just talked about. First, we visualize or imagine a very large lotus seat in the space slightly above and in front of us. Upon that lotus seat, imagine a red sun disk. And now this is a disk that is flat, sort of like a Necco wafer, a red sun disk. The sun refers to the wisdom of emptiness. And these disks are made of light. Above the red sun disk rests a white moon disk. The moon refers to the unconditional love of bodhicitta, the awakened heart and mind that wishes to become enlightened for the benefit of all mother sentient beings. That's what the white moon refers to. On that seat, we imagine or visualize our guru in the form of Manjushri. And so you can put Manjushri up there because Manjushri figures prominently in this. So Manjushri is sitting on the white moon disk, which is on top of the red sun disk. And this represents wisdom and unconditional love, bodhicitta. So what we're imagining is our guru, and this could be Geshe Nima, it could be His Holiness the Dalai Lama, it could be whoever you consider to be your guru. Our guru is in the form of Manjushri, like we're seeing on the screen now. Above Lama Tsong, into the space above our guru, is Lama Tsongkhapa, again in the form of Manjushri. Above Lama Tsongkhapa is Manjushri himself. They're all looking like this. And above Manjushri, Buddha Shakyamuni is there in the form of Manjushri. So all of them are there in the form of Manjushri, Buddha of wisdom. Light is coming down from Buddha Shakyamuni to Manjushri, from Manjushri to Lama Tsongkhapa, from Lama Tsongkhapa to your guru, and from your guru, the light comes to you, where it connects directly to your heart. In this way, you are receiving all the blessings related to this teaching from Buddha Shakyamuni on down to your guru and then into your heart. Imagine or visualize this. The light from your guru and the Buddhas continuously flows into your heart, connecting with you as we now focus on the clarity of mind. The clarity of our mind is free of all misconception, misapprehension, distracted thought, and delusion. With this meditation, we never follow a past experience with our mind, or past misconceived thought, or distraction. And we never invite into our mind an unrealistic thought of some future plan or project. If thoughts or ideas arise in our mind, we never judge them as good or bad, virtuous or non-virtuous, negative or positive. We're just aware of them, and we let them go. If we can release our past experience and past thoughts, and our unrealistic thoughts of the future, then we can keep our focus on the present moment of the mind, which is very luminous, very clear, clean, and free from all negativity. We keep our focus on that as much as we can for a minute or so. We are aware of the present moment of mind. We are aware of our mental focus. We stay with the present moment of mind, which is clear, immaculate, free. Our mental focus stays on the clarity of our mind, and we experience that clarity of mind. So that just gives us a little taste of that. It's something we, need to go through when there aren't a lot of other distractions going on. So we can really spend some time with it. Phenomena never exist due to their own character or from their own side. Super important. This is getting to the non-dualistic view of things. Phenomena never exist due to their own character or from their own side. But due to the subtle level of our mental imprints and grasping ignorance, the mind is always oriented toward illusory or deceptive appearances. It's because of our mind. So the more we spend our time meditating on emptiness, the more we get close to the real nature of things, and then real peace and joy arise in our mind. I think this is very important. So that was the first practice he gave, and he revisited that a few times. So it's a very important one, and it's something he wanted to clearly get across to us.
Right.
And it's if we can get it, it will change the way we view everything. So it's important to practice it. All right, this is the next practice he gave. This is the 7-limb practice and the world mandala in order to help us to accumulate positive force, or like a positive momentum and our positive potential. Sonam is what it's called in Tibetan. It's translated in English as merit, which sort of has a system like, oh, I point here, I got a point there, I got a point there. And that's really not the way to look at it. It's that we're just increasing the positive force that we have in our being, the positive potential. And so that's what these practices are about. So after we've completed that meditation that we just did, we offer the 7-limb practice and world mandala from our heart to our Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So he's suggesting we do this meditation, the clarity of mind meditation, right off the bat when we wake up.
Mhm.
Geshe Lobsang Nima says that at that time, the mind is very subtle. And so the sooner we can get to that meditation before everything else, even probably before we make our coffee,
Yeah.
do this one. And then then he's talking about doing the 7-limb practice. So after we had completed that meditation, we offer the 7-limb practice and world mandala from our heart to our Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We practice the 7 steps outlined in the 7-limb prayer. We make prostrations, we make offerings. The third is we purify all our negative karma through the 4 opponent powers. The fourth is we rejoice in the merits of others. So I just want to go back over these quickly. So the first one, making prostrations, just in my personal practice, I do prostrations right there on the floor, facing towards all of these, the water bowl offerings. I light the candles, water bowl offerings, incense, all of this, and then I do prostrations, 3 prostrations, full prostrations on the floor before I will start the practice. Kavita does the same. Then I've already made offerings. So then I will go back over the offerings. But that's the first thing I do is the offerings. He say do the prostrations first, then do the offerings. So I have mixed it up in my practice, but the offerings are a major part of it. The third is we purify all our negative karma through the 4 opponent powers. That's important. We'll get into that. The fourth is we rejoice in the merits of others. When other people do good things, we appreciate that. Sometimes instead of appreciating, we just feel jealousy. Some people help those who are poor or support members of the community in other ways, but instead of appreciating that and admiring those people, we often criticize them. We find some kind of fault. This is due to some sort of unhealthy competition or jealousy. Those kinds of feelings are like thorns in our mind. I love that expression. I've never heard that before, but those kinds of feelings, when we are being critical of others, they're like thorns in our mind because they're hurting us. When we're criticizing others, we are criticizing the interdependent nature of who we are. And we're criticizing that thing everything that we are depending on, that has brought us to be who we are. And so it's like thorns in our own mind to do this. It's important to remember this. Those kinds of feelings are like thorns in our mind, and they always make us unhappy. We're never happy when we're criticizing someone, finding fault with someone. It only raises or increases our afflictive emotions. Instead of doing that, we should always rejoice in the people who support the poor or who support the community or this kind of thing. So rejoice. If we rejoice, it multiplies our own virtues. This is very important. It doesn't require much energy on our part. If we appreciate others, we get the same amount of virtue the other people do. If other people do good, we appreciate them and rejoice. We rejoice in all the great lamas and the great people who work for the community and for other beings. The thing I would add to this is with anyone that our mind is aware of, that we find the good qualities that exist in those beings or those people. They may have a lot of very bad qualities, but focus on the good ones and rejoice that they have good qualities. If nothing else, focus on the fact that they want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they have Buddha nature. They have the potential within them to go all the way to enlightenment. And if you can focus on that, no matter who it is, then you can lighten up your feeling about them. And you have some sense of hope and positivity about others. It's powerful, and it's really important for our practice to do that. With the fifth branch of the seven limb practice, we supplicate all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to live long for the Buddha Dharma and for sentient beings, for world peace, and so on. Then the sixth limb, we request all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to teach and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. Finally, the seventh limb, whatever positive things you have done, you dedicate the merit of that for the benefit of all sentient beings and offer a world mandala. When we are offering the world mandala, we imagine all of the virtues we have accumulated in the past. While we are imagining those virtues in the form of flowers or many other beautiful things which we offer to the Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we recite or chant the following world mandala offering prayer in combination with the world mandala hand mudra. So if you can put the world mandala hand mudra up there, we'll go over that. And this is the best I have found online.
Yeah.
I found it last night. It's great.
I just saw that. I was like, whoa.
It's great.
It
All right,
actually,
so
like, yeah.
now remember what I said about left and right. The left is wisdom, right is, you could say, compassion or method. The wisdom is always the foundation. So you're resting, the left goes on the right. So you start with your palms up, and you take your right baby finger and you put it on top of your left baby finger. It's resting on that. Then you take your two index fingers and you put them straight up like a pillar. Then you rest your right middle finger on your left middle finger. All right, so now you have your thumbs and your two index fingers left, right? So you take your thumbs and you pull with your left thumb, you pull your right baby finger down. With your right thumb, you pull your left baby finger down. Got that? Then with your left middle finger, you wrap it around the tip of your right middle finger and sort of pull that down. And then with your, it was your left index finger, you wrap it around the tip of your right middle finger. This is why it's so hard. It's so easy to look at the picture. And then with your right index finger, you wrap it around the tip of your left middle finger, and there you got it. So this takes a little practice, but once you get it, you got it. And
I can't do it in the method you just, it's like, I had.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Look at the picture.
Just
Look at the picture and
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
Right? But remember the left and the right.
Yeah.
That the right is resting on the left. That will help you to get things in the right.
I'm 100% sure that nobody will be able to place their left index finger against their left index finger.
No, that was a mistake. I made a mistake.
No,
This is why it's so
what I'm
confusing.
saying is, I think we'll have no trouble differentiating
yeah.
between right and
Right.
left.
Put the back of our leg behind it.
Yeah.
Well, but you can get it all convoluted so that you're resting one finger. So you always keep
It would be
if
hard.
everything's resting on the left. Okay, just keep it that way.
Screw this up. Once you get it, but anyways, that's another.
I wouldn't go that far to say that it would be hard. Okay.
Especially with the right being on top, that's very helpful, because you can easily, like, that's how I do it, but I can easily do it.
You could easily do it the other way.
With the right one, correctly with the pinkies and incorrectly with the index.
And I did that for
fingers.
years.
Right. And
I
so-
did it incorrectly in the front and correctly in the back.
Yeah.
Until I went, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it can be done, it can be screwed up. All right. So then you got this going on, right? Then you go Saji Perki Chokshing Me, talk the whole deal.
Yeah.
And you visualize all the the merit field in front of you and all that, and you're making offerings. And what you're offering is you're visualizing, they say a pure land. And these pure lands exist. They exist. Geshe Lobsang was telling us about them, and he says he will at some point he's going to give us teachings on the pure lands and the things you want to be doing, to be able to be reborn in a pure land. He said they are part of the samsaric experience. It is part of samsara, a pure land, but they're specifically there as places where you can really develop your practice. So you want to say, make this offering of pure land. May all sentient beings experience this, have this kind of rebirth. Where they can go all the way to enlightenment. All right.
My understanding is Central Mountain.
Yeah, the mountain,
Four
right.
continents.
Right. Yeah, they call this in the center is Mount Meru, the 4 continents, and then there's sun and moon.
Sun and moon.
Yeah, there's a whole visualization that goes with that. But it's good to get the fingers down first.
Let's start there.
All right. If through repeatedly practicing the 7 limbs, we develop a strong amount of positive potential, then when we engage in meditation practice, we can get realizations, as the texts, the transmissions, and the teachers have explained. If we lack an accumulation of positive force or potential, then whatever effort we make in meditation, our mind is always going to be distracted, and our meditation won't help us. According to the text, we don't have enough positive force and positive potential to achieve realizations. So this is very important. Very important. So if we find that our mind is like all over the place, it means we haven't done enough of this, developing this positive potential, these practices. So we'll just go back to that. Okay, now he's going to the 5th practice that he gave. And this is called the prayer of 3 supplications from the heart. And this is all in order. So he says, after the offering of the 7-limb practice and world mandala, we supplicate from our heart 3 times with the following prayers. And this is all written down in the study guide. 1, please, my Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, stay with me and bless me. Help me to eliminate all my negativity, including disrespect and distrust toward my Guru, and grasping at self and phenomena, including the self-centered attitude. 2, please, my Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, stay with me and bless me. Help me to achieve all good qualities, including respect and unshakable faith in my Guru, until I attain the fully enlightened state of mind. 3, please, my Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, bless me and help me to clear away all obstacles that hinder the achievement of my goals in this life and the next, until I attain Buddhahood. So I've seen these 3 supplications with different words, but they're saying the same basic thing. So the first one is always help me to eliminate my negativity, my wrong thinking. The second one is, help me to achieve all good qualities. Help me to grow those. And the third one is, help me to clear away all obstacles that hinder realizations on the path. And in the one that I think it's Pabonka Rinpoche gives, he says when you say these prayers, don't include not only yourself, but include all others. Help me and all others to do this. Help me and all others to clear away our obstacles. And so you're continuing to include all sentient beings with you, because they are part of who we are. They are part of you. These are 3 prayers which we should do in our day-to-day life. When we try to meditate or practice, we sometimes fail to do as our teachers or texts have advised us, and sometimes we become hopeless. We think, I've tried to do this or that, but my practice hasn't improved. This is not the fault of the teacher, or the text, or the transmission. This is due to our own lack of positive force or potential to accumulate that. So the practices to accumulate that is what we need to be doing. The 7-limb practice is one of the main ones. And that 7-limb practice, as you will recall, includes you declare all your negative actions of body, speech, and mind, and then you use the, which he's going to get into, and then you use the Vajrasattva practice to help you to purify the negative acts of your body, the negative actions of speech, the negative actions of your mind. So we're going to talk more about this. So here's the 6th practice. Wait a minute, no. I jumped ahead. So in order to extend our accumulation of merit, we say these 3 prayers again and again. This is one way of accumulating merit or positive potential. There are many ways of increasing our own virtue, our own accumulation of positive potential. When we practice the Lam Rim, the stages of the path, many teachers advise us to start by relying on one's teacher or guru until we achieve the last of the 6 paramitas or perfections, the perfection of wisdom. That's taking you all the way up to right before enlightenment. So they're saying rely on your guru the whole way. With each level of this kind of practice, we meditate on each Lam Rim step. If we find we're having trouble making progress and achieving realizations in the Lam Rim, instead of continuing with the Lam Rim, we go back to focusing our attention on society, community, and accumulating positive potential, helping others, making prostrations, and so on. There are many, many ways of accumulating positive potential. Then come back to the meditation practice and continue. Accumulation of merit or positive potential is very important to improve one's own realizations and spiritual power. So now he goes to the 6th practice, which is, he calls it the emitting of nectar to purify one's body, speech, and mind. So now, if you will put up, I gave you a link, there's a link in there to Vajradhara, the blue primordial Buddha. At each level, when we do this kind of practice, at the end of each step of the Lam Rim meditation, we practice what is called emitting the nectar. Following the prayer of the 3 supplications from the heart, which we just went through, we visualize from the heart of Vajradhara here, this is primordial Buddha, the Buddha we all have the potential to be. From the heart of Vajradhara, the emitting of lots of nectar in the form of light coming from Vajradhara, then to Manjushri. So again, they're stacked. Vajradhara to Manjushri, from Manjushri to Lama Tsongkhapa, from Lama Tsongkhapa to your guru or His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So I put all of these images are here, they're linked here, so you can see them. And then from your guru's heart, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the light nectar comes to the crown of your head and enters your body. That light purifies all the negativity related with your body, then exits from your body and disappears into space. Again, a second time, from Vajradhara to Manjushri, then Lama Tsongkhapa to your guru, then coming to your head, the light nectar enters into your central chakra and purifies all the negativities related with your speech. The nectar then exits from your body and disappears into space. Again, a third time, lots of light nectar comes from Vajradhara to Manjushri to Lama Tsongkhapa and to your guru, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then coming to your head, enters into the central chakra and purifies all the negativities related with your mind. All those negativities transform into smoke and exit from your system, your body. So we train in this way again and again. This is related to how we do our daily practice. So again, these are all part of the daily practice we do. Now we go to session 3, and the next practice was practice 7. That was 6. Practice 7 is purify our karma through the 4 opponent powers. If we feel some sort of fear about the lower realms, the first thing to do is to take refuge in the 3 jewels and follow their teachings, instructions, and precepts, the vows and the rules and things like that. The proper way of following the precepts of the 3 jewels is to observe the law of karma. That means we follow virtuous action and we do not follow non-virtuous action. We try to create more positive karma and try to avert negative karma. If we are human, and I think we are, and know we have engaged in lots of negative karma in an earlier part of our life, which we probably all know we have, that karma can be purified. The Buddha says that the most wonderful characteristic of negative karma or action is that it can be completely purified if we use the correct antidote or remedial practice. This is the characteristic of negative karma. If once we've created negative karmas, those karmas couldn't be purified, then we'd be hopeless. But it's not like that. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We hit on this last week, and it's very, 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 very important. We tend to concretize everything. That's what we do. The way we view everything, the way we think about everything, we concretize it as if it exists out there somehow. So we also concretize the past, and we concretize the future, and we have a lot of trouble holding on to the present. So when we're talking about karma, we're talking about actions of our body, speech, and mind. And when we're talking about time, past, present, future, how we have sort of put it into those 3 levels, the only time that we actually ever experience is the ever-present now. There is no other time other than the ever-present now. You can test this out for yourself. You can test this out for yourself. If you're thinking about something that you did this morning, is that happening then? Or what's happening is you're thinking about it in the ever-present now. You have brought something you did this morning, maybe it was something simple like shaving, and you're bringing it into the present moment. So take that and say you had a terrible argument with your spouse or a parent or a child 20 years ago. And that resulted in the relationship getting broken off. And you think of that as this terrible karma that exists in the past. But what it actually is every time you think about that awful thing, you're bringing it right into the ever-present now. You're making it is part of your continuum of consciousness. That karma is existing now in the continuum of your consciousness. It's not existing back then in the past, because the past doesn't exist. Even if we were able to time travel and go back to Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln, we'd be experiencing it in the ever-present now. We wouldn't be experiencing it in the past. It would be now for us. So there is no experience we ever have other than the ever-present now. And you need to think a lot about this, because this is the key to how we purify karma. We're not going back to the past and purifying it. We're purifying our continuum of consciousness that is hanging on to the guilt, the regret, the pain, the anger, the blame. We're carrying it with us. It's not in the past, it's now. So as we are able to purify that through these practices, we purify that karma and it's gone. It's not going to bite us in the butt sometime down the road, because we will have removed it from our continuum of consciousness. You have to think about that and see the logic in that. Otherwise, karma doesn't make sense. This purifying karma, it sounds like magic. It's not magic. It's something we're working with our own mind, our own consciousness. We are undoing right now these misconceptions that we had. The self-grasping, self-cherishing behavior that we've had that caused us to react in certain ways with others and cause all these problems. So we know we do this. We keep dragging the past with us. We keep talking over and over and over again what my mother did 20 years ago, what my father did 30 years ago. And we don't know how to let it go. These practices are the way. These practices are the way that we let it go. And we transform it. And we transform it now. So we don't have to keep talking about the past and bringing it up, because we will have released it.
One time recently I read I think it was in Psychology Today, but it was somebody saying that memory, their assertion was that memory is a creative, you're recreating.
Absolutely it is.
So it's a creative activity.
Right.
So
Oftentimes,
remembering, like say in my example, remembering the time I got spanked for eating the last piece of pumpkin pie when I was 8 years old. I'm literally, it's the same activity as writing a song. I'm taking, I don't know,
all these elements you remember.
Yeah.
And of course, what we all do, because we are the center of our experience, it's a very self-centered memory. We're not necessarily remembering
Their side.
their side of it. We're remembering our side of it and embellishing it, either that we were the poor innocent victim, or, oh, how horrible what I did. I can't believe I'm so guilty. I'm so awful. I'm going to go to hell. And we embellish it. We make it stronger than it is. We're very creative with it, and we carry it with us into the present now, constantly. So next time you go talking about what so-and-so did 25 years ago, and you can't believe it, catch yourself and go, what am I doing? I'm just perpetuating this in my own mental continuum. It has nothing to do with mom or dad.
so instead write a song.
No, instead do these practices. Instead, this is what the whole point,
If you need to create something.
if you want to create something. But actually what Buddhism is about is creating the enlightened being that we have the potential to be.
Well, we've talked a lot about this, between the two of us, that it's right now anyway, the way I understand it is, as a consciousness in whatever form I'm going to appear, they use the emanation body term. I'm going to emanate as something in some realm or another with some kind of form, and there's going to be some kind of manifested something or other.
Well, it's always going to be the case.
So there's a creative aspect, is
Yeah.
what I'm wondering.
Right.
And it seems to me like, when we visualize and we do the mandala visualization, for example, or the refuge for that matter, or the mirror field, we're building up the thing that we want to live into.
Yeah, Mahayana Buddhism absolutely starts you out from the very beginning in what is called Vajrayana, Tantrayana, Mantrayana practices. without having to get in the
Golf,
car.
when you're practicing golf, if anyone's, I mean, a lot of sports are like this, they have you picture the perfect golf swing. Or if you're a diver and do competition or horseback riding, you visualize the perfect
Everything you do,
posture.
yeah.
We were doing that in the 70s.
No, I know. I mean, I think it's been maybe.
We do it naturally. We
Yeah.
just do it naturally. If we know we have to, say we have to give a speech or something, we practice that speech. We visualize getting up in front of the people. How's that going to be? Or a performance or anything like that. We go through all of that all the time, and that's it's a tantric type of practice. Except we don't even realize what we're doing. Tantra means that you through intention and you visualize yourself into becoming something. And in the case of Buddhism, you're visualizing yourself into becoming the best being that you can possibly be, an enlightened being that is enlightened for the benefit of all others. That's where we're headed with it. That's what we have the potential to be. So we use these powers, 4 opponent powers, as a way of purifying the karma that we're carrying, the negative karma that we're carrying continually with us in the ever-present now in our mental continuum. So if we remember some negative karma we've accumulated at another time in our life, we try to purify that negative karma through the 4 remedial or opponent powers. We generate these ourselves. The first opponent power is the power of regret. This kind of regret is similar to a situation where among a gathering of people, there's a glass of poisoned water that no one knows about. One of your friends ignorantly drinks half of the glass of poisoned water, and then sometime later, you ignorantly drink the other half. After a while, you observe your friend showing signs of terrible sickness and pain from the poison. A person in the group who recognizes these symptoms says that once someone has ingested this kind of poison, they will die within 24 hours without an antidote. Then you begin to feel the pain of the poison yourself. At that very moment, you are very, very sorry and regretful about having ignorantly taken a drink of the poisoned water, and you immediately seek the antidote or remedy. In the same way, when we think about the negative actions of body, speech, and mind we have ignorantly done in the past out of attachment or aversion, we remember how sick we would be if we ingested poison. Without the antidote to the poison, we would experience great suffering. We regret having engaged in these negative actions because they not only harm others, they harm ourselves. This is the opponent power of regret. The second is the power of reliance. The second opponent power. First of all, what we do is we think everything is interdependent. The self I think of as me is an interdependent being. I don't exist as an independent being. I am actually empty of independent existence. Completely. There's not even a heartless particle of me that is independent. So according to your own understanding, you think of yourself as being empty of inherent or independent existence. Whether that understanding is completely correct or not, don't worry, it doesn't matter. You think about emptiness for a minute and then generate yourself in the form of a Buddha, Dharma, deity, upon whom you can rely. So you're generating yourself either as some people will take, and I've put links to all of these if people want to look into them. Some people will take a very fierce deity, wrathful deity, a deity that can cut through all the shit, basically. And that would be like somebody like Yamantaka. that particular deity. If you were to look at a Yamataka Tonga, you'd go, oh my goodness, you have a picture of the devil in your house. What's it doing there? You know? But these are in Buddhism, in Mahayana Buddhism, these are psychologically astute tools that you use to clear out your continuum of consciousness and purify it. So you could pick someone like Yamataka that you transform into, and you just imagine you're doing this, or you could rely upon Tara. Tara is the green. She's the
She's
consort
green,
of.
she's white.
She's green. Yeah, there's a white tower,
Yeah.
there's a green tower. Green is she's the consort of the Buddha Amoghasiddhi. They go together, the male-female aspect. And Tara accomplishes things. You know, you go, I can do this. I can accomplish this. I can rid myself of this gunk in my continuum, mental continuum, and I can move forward. So you would take somebody like Tara, or you could take Avalokiteshvara, who is Chenrezig. So you would take somebody who embodies the four measurables, immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion. You know, so you pick what works for you, whatever deity you rely upon. First of all, you think about the emptiness of yourself, the emptiness of Christopher, this idea, this concept, me. It's a concept. It's a concept. I and me is a concept. So you think of the emptiness of that, and then based on that seed or root of emptiness, you generate your emptiness into the form of Manjushri or Tara or Chenrezig or Yamantaka or whoever you would like, whoever you feel really a strong, basically I would say whoever you feel a very strong connection with. If you are doing you're doing a Chenrezig mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, and you start to feel a very strong connection. You go, that's the one, that's what I should use. Or you do Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. You feel strong connection to Manjushri. Use Manjushri. So then what you do is above your head, you visualize Vajrasattva. You could put Vajrasattva up there just as a reminder. We've seen Vajrasattva, him, her before. Vajrasattva is the great purifier of all defilements, obscurations, and obstacles. And so you picture Vajrasattva above your head. So you're now in the form of your personal Buddhist deity, and above you is Vajrasattva. This is what Geshe Nima is saying, is the opponent power of reliance. We're relying on these very potent psychological energies, these tools, what are they like? What did Jung call them? Archetypes. They're like archetypes. In Buddhism, they're like Jungian archetypes, but it's a Mahayana, it's a spiritual archetype. So you're relying on these archetypes of who you could be and how you can purify. So they often say Vajrasattva is actually you.
Right.
It's the potential that you have to purify your own continuum. It's never, ever, ever in Buddhism is it like magic. Is it like some woo-woo thing that somebody is doing to you? It's all our own mind. It's our mind. And our minds are connected. So it's just a lot. It's a lot to comprehend. But what I'm trying to stress is to get over the idea that there's some kind of magic thing this is a psycho-spiritual process that we're going through. So that's the opponent power of reliance. You're relying on those archetypes, those energies. So now we go to the power of the remedy. This is the third opponent power. This is the antidote. So since you're now generated as your personal deity, your body by nature is not contaminated. So you're imagining that you're completely free of all this contaminated stuff going on. Your body is like a balloon of light. The inside is empty, but full of a filthy black substance. And those are all the negative things we're carrying with us, that we can't let go of. Imagine or visualize that. Then you begin reciting the mantra Vajrasattva. This is the 100-syllable mantra. I almost called it the Hullabaloo mantra. The 100-syllable mantra. I like that. Oh my God, the
I
hullabaloo.
like that.
Dude, the Vajrasattva, I got it.
Stick.
Sort of lightens that up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Vajrasattva, someone, yeah,
Who's the host?
well, there were several. They were guest hosts.
Oh.
They had, yeah.
Oh.
Noel Harrison, Lytham Nelly, they were all guest hosts of Hullabaloo. So now we recite the Vajrasattva mantra. You recite the first round of the mantra 7 times. While you're counting the first round of the mantra, we won't go through that right now. Visualize or imagine nectar in the form of powerful white light is emitting from the body of Vajrasattva above your head. The nectar enters your body through your head and purifies all that black substance that represents your own negative karma that you're carrying with you moment to moment, pushing it from the top downward until finally it exits through the lower part of your body. You continue this throughout the first 7 repetitions of the mantra. Then you recite the second round 7 times. And while you're counting the second round, you visualize Vajrasattva emitting lots of nectar in the form of light coming into your body through your head. This nectar goes down to the base of your body and purifies the black substance representing your negative karma, pushing it from the bottom upward until finally it exits your body through the top of your head. So it's like you're cleaning going down and you're cleaning going up. You're not missing any little bit of black stuff that you're carrying along with you in the ever present now.
Yeah, from both directions.
Okay. Now recite the third round of 7 of the mantra, which makes 21 repetitions, which is what they suggest. This time, while counting the last round of the mantra, visualize Vajrasattva emitting nectar in the form of light coming into your body through your head, purifying all of the remaining black substance in your upper body, pushing it down toward the middle. At the same time, visualize light nectar from Vajrasattva at the base of your body, purifying all of the remaining black substance in your lower body, pushing it upward toward the middle. The upward flowing nectar and the downward flowing nectar meet at the center of your body and squeeze all of your remaining black negative karma out through your middle, where it exits your body, dissipates, and disappears. Continue this throughout the last 7 repetitions of the mantra. Finally, you feel completely purified of all the negativity that you've created in the past and been carrying around with you. That's where it exists, not in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It exists in us, and that's why we can purify it. Finally, you feel you've completely purified all the negativity. This is the opponent power of the remedy. And the last opponent power, and we'll stop here, is the power of resolve. This refers to making the resolve never to repeat that particular negative deed again. We also resolve to follow the precepts of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha because we want happiness and we don't want suffering. That's, if you go back to the Four Noble Truths, the very first thing, the point of the Buddha's teaching is that he recognized that there is suffering, it's a problem, and he's saying there's a way out of this. There's a way out of suffering. There's a solution to this, and there's a step-by-step process that we can engage in that will completely relieve us of our suffering and help others to do the same. That's the point of Buddhism, is to be happy, to not suffer, and to help others do the same. So through this kind of practice, we can purify. Not only in the rules and precepts for fully ordained monks and nuns, but even in the highest yoga tantras, specifically in the Guhya Samaja Tantra, in the 9th or 10th chapter, it says we can purify. Even if we killed our father or our mother, we can purify through our sincere practice. So it's very important that we purify. And things like that, those are very strong. And that's where you have to recognize the emptiness, the empty nature of your mother, the empty nature of your father, the empty nature of yourself, and you start from there and you purify all of that you're carrying with you. I mean, let's say that you did kill somebody, probably, this has happened. Somebody listening now.
Who is somebody?
Who is somebody? I mean,
We've killed
we've
lots of
intentionally
bugs
killed lots
and
of bugs.
things like that, things that we don't classify, or
Yeah.
at least didn't at one point in time as somebody, but it was somebody.
But when it seems to us like it's like somebody very close in our family that we grew up in that
Yeah,
we killed, mother, father, relative, something
Yeah.
like that has a very darkening effect on our consciousness. And so we have to purify that. And what they're saying is it can be purified, and you purify it in the present moment,
Mhm.
not in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's very important that we do this. Very important when we do this purification process, because it's the negative karma, our negative karmic imprints and propensities that we're carrying with us all the time. These are the things that trigger us to feel unhappy. These are the things that trigger us to engage in actions that are going to cause trouble for ourselves and others. So this is so important. This Vajrasattva practice, to learn the mantra, is so important, and to do these practices, I can't stress enough the importance of this and the value of it, and the psychological value of it. It's not magic. So after the purification practice, in our mind, we compare our positive activity and negative activity. If our positive activity is very, very strong, and the negative activity we have done in the past has been purified through our practice, then we're innocent. We'd be very, very happy. At that moment, we should feel confident. Now, if death comes today, it's no problem. We are certain to take rebirth in the highest realm, which is endowed with leisure and endowed with favorable conditions for practicing Dharma to the fullest. We can continue on the path with more and more progress. But we all know the feeling is if we still feel we're carrying this dark thing around that we haven't been able to psychologically purify or let go of, we think, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell. When I die, something terrible is going to happen. I'm not going to see the Buddha. I'm going to go straight, to some awful realm. Well, we need to free ourselves from that. This is psychological. It's psychological, and we need to free ourselves from it. And these practices are designed to do just that. Still, if we take the next rebirth as a human being with all the opportunities to practice Dharma, that life is also impermanent. If through ignorance we die while committing some negative action, then we'll take the next rebirth into a lower realm, simply because our mind cannot let go.
Okay.
So our next rebirth is uncertain unless we practice the guaranteed path, which affords us the freedom to take rebirth wherever we can, freely, without being under the power of contaminated karma due to afflictive emotions. Then we can transcend the samsaric life and achieve the deathless state of nirvana. If we can achieve that level, we will be happy. We will have broken the linked chains of birth, aging, sickness, and death that bind us to samsara. See how he's connecting that to the Vajrasattva practice.
Mm-hmm.
We will have broken the linked chains of birth, aging, sickness, and death that bind us to samsara. But at the level of the person of small capacity who's only interested in a fortunate rebirth within cyclic existence, there's no way to make an effort to achieve nirvana. How do we generate the strong aspiration to achieve nirvana and the strong renunciation toward all of cyclic existence, including this life? The real path starts with the practice of the Four Noble Truths. When we start to practice the Four Noble Truths, it marks the transition from the shared path of the person of small capacity to the shared path of the person of medium capacity. So we'll stop there. There's one more, but it's from another section, and we won't go through that. Yeah, which is really great the way he gave it. So what I would like everybody to think of this week when they can is to think that we never experience any other moment than the ever present now. There is no other time. And just think about that, and then for yourself, logically see if you can defy that. If you can defy that you can experience any other time but the ever present moment. And when you find out that it is impossible, you'll realize that there is nothing but the ever-present moment. And that's where we purify everything. We purify it now. So I think it's something huge that I have learned during this time from Geshe Nima's teachings. And so I want to share that. Okay, how about closing?
All right, I'm gonna just lead a little closing meditation, so. We've just listened to, we've made time to be here and make this an important activity in our life, the core of our motivation, and feeling really happy that we want to achieve something so meaningful. So generate a little bit of rejoicing in your effort to be on this path and the effort of the others, not only here in this room, but on the Zoom and around the world, everybody who's trying to lift up themselves, and in so doing, lift up the world. So a little bit of rejoicing. So that's one of the ways you can generate merit through rejoicing, just to remember, just call to mind once in a while the good things happening. So due to the merit from having listened to these teachings and rejoicing in the merit of Christopher preparing for us, and the merit of the teachers who generated the material that Christopher referred to, and Geshe Nima making the effort, and Brian, Herman, and Tracy getting him here, and on and on and on, okay? Just we're rejoicing in all of that and generating great merit. And due to all of this merit of listening to these teachings that came about today through all these causes, through that merit, may we soon attain the fully enlightened state of a Buddha, so that we can completely lift up ourselves and all sentient beings out of misery and into happiness. And to do that, in every lifetime, no matter what realm or what form, may we encounter kind and holy, authentic Dharma and the teachers. And practice in a way that will lead us to Buddhahood. So that we speedily attain the state of a fully enlightened Buddha. So all of that, just from showing up here today.
Yeah.
May that all of this.
I want to share that
Into enlightenment.
Geshe Nima did say that, you know, we are generating an enormous amount of positive potential here
Right.
doing this, and he's so happy about it. So and I am too. I mean, I can see, I can feel it, I can see.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, let me read you this, because I think you should probably hear this. Find it. Message from the guy who helped teach the course at Minnesota Geshe. So he wrote this May 6th. He said, "Dear seekers of the good life," that's the students enrolled in this Buddhist philosophy course. He said, "I hope you're all well and are not too stressed about the final crunch of this semester. Summer's almost here, so best of luck to all of you in getting through the gauntlet into the warm light." He's a religious history professor. I'm writing because I finally found the time to read all of your final essays and to factor that work together with all of your other good work this semester so as to assign your final grades. I just did that. Want to thank you for your kind patience in waiting for me to get this work done. Have any questions about any of this, contact me directly. Anyways, I wanted to send you all a special shout out because I'm not sure I have ever read a more satisfying, thoughtful, stimulating, and insightful set of undergraduate essays before. Now, this guy is a full professor of history, been at the university for 25 years. He's a Knight Scholar, so he's one of the top professors there. Every one of you, I mean that, and I really mean that, did a terrific job with this assignment, producing a paper that was often extremely personal, thanks for sharing that with me, but also very sophisticated in its self-critical assessment of the class and its impact on you as a human being, and in your profound engagement with the complexities of Buddhist teachings and philosophy. I had hoped that this class would provoke exactly those sorts of responses and trigger precisely the sorts of deep and serious critical reflections that every one of you offered. But having seen how good all of your papers were, I appreciate more than ever now how important this class was for all of you and me, and what a special opportunity it was to be able to offer it to you. I'm further grateful to Geshe Lobsang Nima for his work with all of us, which also gave us a rare opportunity to think in new ways and grow as human beings. And he ends by saying, and you'll like this, Brian, I have been involved lately in some very dispiriting university politics regarding the future of our undergraduate curriculum. I have become very despondent about the state of our educational climate of our university as a result. But after reading your essays and returning with them to those fabulous weeks we spent together between January and March, my spirit has been rejuvenated. So thank you all for that. So anyways, he seems to have gotten quite a positive, uplifting experience from the
Geshe
students.
Lobsang
Isn't that
Nima being
amazing?
there and the students, it benefited so much.
That's just amazing.
Yeah,
You know, when something actually cuts through and hits
Right.
the right point, you know, we respond.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every student had such a positive experience. They really did,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, so we are so fortunate, you know.
We really are.
Okay,
Okay.
anybody wanna say
Happy
anything?
sentient Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all your mothers.
You precious sentient little mother, you.
Oh, your mothers.
Oh, yeah, all your mothers.
No, seriously, happiness to all of you. Thank you for joining us.
The 7 chants
Can you call
mantra is
again?
related to the
Yeah,
100 syllable mantra. I don't know, Arthur. Christopher, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Arthur asked a question.
7 chant mark?
7 chant mantra is related to the 100 syllable mantra. Arthur, I think when you're somewhere where you can open up the PDF, it will become more clear.
Are you talking about the 7 limb prayer?
Yeah,
Because the 7 limb is not the same as the
right, but there is
Vajrasattva.
regret in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all connected.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
related. So when you
Yeah.
open the PDF, you'll see how it all links
Yeah,
together.
as part of the 7 limb practice, you do the Vajrasattva practice. Yes.
Yeah,
That is like the centerpiece actually of the practice of the 7 limb practice.
Unless you make something else the same.
Well,
Okay.
what else could it be but
Looking good. Claudia.
Okay. All right. We'll
I
end
see
it
it's
here.
a nice sunny day in Houston.